Okay, hello everyone. We can now do the chanting first up before the meditations and the Dharma Talk. So be mindful, aware, conscientious while you do the chanting. Namo Tassa Bhagavato ArahatoSammaSambuddhassa. Namo Tassa Bhagavato ArahatoSammaSambuddhassa. Namo Tassa Bhagavato ArahatoSammaSambuddhassa. Buddham saranam gacchami. Dhammam saranam gacchami. Sangham saranam gacchami. Dutiyampi Buddham saranam gacchami. Dutiyampi Dhammam saranam gacchami. Dutiyampi Sangham saranam gacchami. Tatayampi Buddham saranam gacchami. Tatayampi Dhammam saranam gacchami. Tatayampi Sangham saranam gacchami. Namo Buddhaya, Namo Dharmaya, Namo Sanghaya. Namo Buddhaya, Namo Dharmaya, Namo Sanghaya. Namo Buddhaya, Namo Dharmaya, Namo Sanghaya. I take refuge until I am enlightened in the Buddha, the Dharma, and the Sangha. Through the positive potential I create by practicing the 6 paramitas, may I soon attain enlightenment in order to benefit all sentient beings. I take refuge until I am enlightened in the Buddha, the Dharma, and the Sangha. Through the positive potential I create by practicing the 6 paramitas, may I soon attain enlightenment in order to benefit all sentient beings. I take refuge until I am enlightened in the Buddha, the Dharma, and the Sangha. Through the positive potential I create by practicing the 6 paramitas, may I soon attain enlightenment in order to benefit all sentient beings. May all sentient beings have happiness and its causes. May they be free from suffering and its causes. May they never be parted from their happiness beyond suffering. May they abide in equanimity, free of bias, attachment to the near, and aversion from the far. I shall cause this. Great compassionate Buddha, please inspire me to be able to do so. Reverently, I prostrate with my body, speech, and mind, and present clouds of every types of offerings, actual and mentally transformed. I confess all of my negative actions accumulated since beginningless time, and rejoice in all the virtues of all holy and ordinary beings. Please remain until cyclic existence ends, and turn the wheel of Dharma for all sentient beings. I dedicate the virtues of myself and others to the great enlightenment. However innumerable all sentient beings are, I vow to save them all. However inexhaustible my delusions are, I vow to extinguish them all. However immeasurable the Dharma teachings are, I vow to master them all. However endless the Buddha's way is, I vow to follow it completely. Om Mani Padme Hum. Om Mani Padme Hum. Om Mani Padme Hum. Tayata Hum Gate Gate Para Samgate Bodhi Soha. Tayatam gate gate para samgate bodhi soha. Tayatam gate gate para samgate bodhi soha. So well done, engaging in the practice of reciting the Buddhist verses, very important verses, including the refuge prayers, of course, Vandana or paying homage, generating bodhicitta, generating the four immeasurables, and also engaging in the 7-limb prayer, in other words, 7 short prayers within the one, and taking the bodhisattva precepts, and then practicing the mantra of great compassion, and of course the Heart Sutra, the Prajna Paramita, perfection of wisdom mantra, you could say. So now let's do some meditation and get yourself in a position nice and comfortable for yourself, whatever suits you, and we will release the tension in the body. So gently close your eyes, lips gently touching, tongue resting on the upper palate and the mouth. And bring your mind to your body. We'll start at the bottom, tips of the toes all the way up the legs, then the upper torso to the shoulders, down to the tips of your fingers, and then back up to your neck and to the top of your head. So let's take a few minutes to do this in silence. Or for a short while, I should say, not a few minutes. And once you've released this tension, don't hurry. I'm not trying to hurry you up, but once you've done it, just scan the body once more, just very briefly, to see if you've left any tension that you can release. And when you are ready, place your mind onto your breath, breathing in your nose. So initially at the tip of your nose, and then follow the feeling of the breath as you breathe in your nose, past your throat, past the chest area, and all the way into your lungs. They expand. And then as you breathe out, they compress, the air leaves the lungs, passes the chest area, quite warm now, passing the throat on the way out the nose. So breathing in and breathing out. That's all you have to do. And breathe naturally too. Quite often, I think actually, I should mention that us human beings tend to, especially when we're stressed, tend to take very shallow breaths. And so maybe you can just take longer breaths, nice and relaxed breaths, all the way into your lungs and then out your nose again. But don't try to regulate the breathing now, okay? Just breathing naturally and relaxed. And placing your mind on the feeling of the breath. If other thoughts arise or any mental agitation, mental activities, then don't cling to them. And also don't grasp at them. Don't try to forcefully push them away or deny them. But by replacing the mind back on the breath, let them go naturally. And if your mind starts to become dull, sleepy, then wake it up a little by focusing more brightly on the breath. So let's practice like this now for a few minutes. Silence. Precious silence. Silence from the point of view of physical silence, outside silence, but especially inner silence. To silence your mind, still your mind by using the technique of focusing on the breath. And also you can use the extra technique of counting the breaths. 1 in, 1 out is 1, up to 10, not past 10. And of course, if you lose concentration on the way to 10, then go back to 1 at that time. This extra technique will help you to focus on the feeling of your breath as you breathe in and out. So let's practice. So now you can feel very pleased with yourself for engaging in this short practice. Fill yourself with universal loving kindness. Really be kind to yourself. It's very important. If we are kind to ourselves, then we can be kind to others genuinely. Fill yourself with so much loving kindness that it now radiates outwards, overflows, radiates outwards initially to your loved ones, filling them with the loving kindness as well. And now radiate it also to strangers. Those people that you may know a little bit or not at all. Those people that you are indifferent towards. Towards our loved ones, we tend to have attachment, desire to be with them. But to strangers, we're indifferent. And now also include those that you may regard as enemies. Normally we have aversion towards them. We don't want to be around them. May all of these three types of people from your own perspective have happiness and the causes of happiness. Be free from suffering and the causes of suffering. And may they be peaceful. And gradually further and further radiating this love and kindness, now to include all of those living beings around your immediate area. The living beings that live on the land, under the land, in the waters, fly through the air. Those living beings that maybe you don't even know they're existing there. Maybe they are microscopic. Share this love and kindness with all of these living beings, whether you know about them or not. Now gradually further and further now, radiate this love and kindness throughout your whole state or county. gathering so much momentum. Other states and counties as well throughout your whole country. And other countries throughout the whole world. Those you're familiar with, those that you're not familiar with, and even ones you may have some sort of negative feelings towards. May all of the living beings throughout all of these countries, and also the waters in between these countries, may they have happiness and the causes of happiness. May they be free from suffering and the causes of suffering. And may they be peaceful. May the universal loving kindness pervade this whole planet. And other planets throughout the whole solar system. And other solar systems throughout this vast galaxy. And other galaxies throughout the universe. And beyond, throughout infinite space. Without limit. This immeasurable loving kindness pervading throughout everywhere. Unlimited. And also be present here and now to recite the dedication prayer. Due to this merit, may I soon attain the enlightened state of the Buddha, so that I may be able to liberate all sentient beings from their suffering. May the precious bodhicitta not yet born arise and grow. May that born have no decline but increase forevermore. And may the precious view of shunyata not yet born arise and grow. May that born have no decline but increase forevermore. And so, hope you are nice and meditated now, ready to hear some Dharma talk. As you know, I've been covering questions and answers, basically, but grouping them together under subjects. And of course, at the moment, it includes giving commentary on my song, The Enlightenment and the Teaching, which covers the Buddha's enlightenment, which you've already gone through some weeks ago now, and then also the first lot of teachings he gave, Dhammacakkappavattana, or the turning of the wheel of Dharma, Sutta, as well as teachings on interdependence and karma. So today we're up to the Eightfold Path, and as I mentioned, for most of you, it'll be like a refresher course, a brief refresher course, because you already know this Eightfold Path. Even if you only started to learn about it when we started doing these Zoom classes, because for the first, I think maybe something like 5 months or so, we actually spent on the Eightfold Path. Of course, a lot of that was spent on the concentration part, where we went through all the different aspects of the mind in that sense, derivative mental factors and the like. So we spent a fair bit of time on the concentration part, as well as the whole thing actually, but specifically looking at things like right speech, right action, and so forth. I think we just took 1 week of it for each of those, one class. And so anyway, we'll talk about that today. And I know I mentioned we're going to talk about the Karuniya Metta Sutta, have commentary on that. So the Buddhist teachings on universal love and kindness. I said that we'll start next week, but actually I know that we're going to start the week after, because I want to spend a little bit of time today on this teaching song, and also a little bit next week as well, not to rush anything. And what I've decided to do, I've actually accessed the basically all of the songs, you could say the script for the musical Universal Love of the Buddha from 2012. So the whole CD and the lyrics for the songs. And I thought that I'd actually teach the universal love and kindness, or the Metta Sutta, utilizing this for a little bit of fun, a little bit something different, to give you a bit of a history of how the Buddha, why the Buddha, when and where the Buddha gave these teachings. I briefed on it a little bit a few weeks ago, but I thought maybe we can talk about that, and that way you get to know the situation of why the Buddha actually really gave this teaching at that time, And then, of course, we'll have a look at the sutta, or sutra in Sanskrit, if you like, scripture or discourse, those words we can use in English. And we'll have a commentary, a detailed commentary on this Metta Sutta, or Karaniya Metta Sutta. Okay, so today, once again, I'll just recite the song and the teaching part of the song, and then we'll go into the part we're up to right now. So the Buddha said, "Listen, friends, I have found the way to overcome old age, sickness, and death. Let me teach you, and if you listen, learn, and practice as I tell you, very soon you will know for yourselves that what I say is true. All phenomena are dependent on conditions, cause, and effect. Ignorance is the root of all evil and the cause of all suffering. When it is replaced with wisdom, one realizes nirvana. Avoid all extremes. Practice the middle path, the noble eightfold path, which consists of perfect understanding, perfect thought, perfect speech, perfect action, perfect livelihood, perfect effort, perfect mindfulness, perfect concentration. Do no evil, do only good. Train your mind. This is the teaching of the Buddha. This is the path to enlightenment. And for the benefit of all, teach the Dharma, which is excellent in the beginning, in the middle, and the end." And I thought I was quite clever by ending that song with the words "in the end." At the time, I thought, oh, that sort of happened naturally. Those things don't happen very often when you are writing poetry or music, lyrics or songs, but quite sometimes just it happens very, very quickly, and you don't need to change it. So anyway, you don't need to do edits and rewrites and things like that. Not that that's a problem. Anyway, so we're up to the part that says, practice the middle path, the noble eightfold path, which consists of perfect understanding, perfect thought, and so on. Okay, so I'm using the word in that song, perfect. You can also, and most commonly, we would use the word right. So correct, right understanding, right thoughts. The reason I used perfect was because of the syllables. It just worked better to have two syllables there rather than one syllable. So for the music, for the tempo, and also the time, the 4/4 time that I was in, didn't want to change that or do such a long ride. Perfect, better. But it actually makes sense perfectly as well. Okay, even though we're not perfect right now, but also our understanding is not right now. Okay, so we're working towards this perfect or this right understanding, and the others as well. And so the Noble Eightfold Path, why is it called noble? Because it's beyond normal. Okay, even if we start to practice right now and we haven't practiced at all, let's say not even previous lives, not even this lifetime, we're just starting to practice Buddhism right now, then we are where we're at. Okay, it's a perfect time to start. Or if you've been practicing for many, many lifetimes, or if you practice this lifetime, a lot, and hear these teachings over and over, so you get to know them more and more, and how to implement them and get better at doing this. We're at where we're at right now. Okay, so whether it's right or perfect doesn't really matter. We need to put it into practice. Like I've said before, we need to have this purpose of purifying our mind, realizing our true nature. Many different ways we can express that. We also need to know the methods to be put into practice. So this Eightfold Path and how to put it into practice. And then, utilizing your teachers and utilizing the stories of great masters throughout the ages, and especially the story of the Buddha's life, how he attained this and realized this enlightenment from many, many lifetimes of practice, and practice the Eightfold Path as well as other aspects of the Dharma. So use this as inspiration. Don't be disheartened that we're not perfect yet, but use the inspiration, or as inspiration, the stories of these great masters, including the Buddha, throughout history. And then, of course, you need to implement it. You need to practice. What's the point in having good information, good methods on how to purify the mind if we don't actually practice them? We have to do it. You know, as if you want to clean your mirror or something so you can see clearly into your mirror, and you get the cleaning materials, the vinegar or whatever you're using, and you have an idea to do it in the first way. You know how to do it, you know what to use, but then you go and watch TV instead. Your mirror remains dirty. So it's like this with the mind as well. In this little metaphor, the mirror represents your mind. And so maybe we start from, as we normally would, from the morality aspect. Remember that the Noble Eightfold Path, it can also be expressed as the three higher trainings of morality, meditation, and wisdom. So the first two aspects of the Eightfold Path, right understanding and right thoughts, comes under wisdom, the wisdom part. And so this is the goal. They're mentioned first because we need to have that purpose. We need to have that goal, the goal of developing, realizing right understanding, right thoughts. And so then, of course, we have to practice morality. This is like the foundation of a house, as I've mentioned many times. You need a strong foundation of your house. Otherwise, the walls will come down when the weather's bad. The ceilings will fall down. In other words, our practice of meditation will be very fragmented if we're not practicing morality, because we will have negative feelings about ourselves. Our mind will be very clouded because of the negative karma we're creating. And also, even if we don't think we're experiencing it, but the negative clinging remorse that we will have, what you could call, even though it's not a perfect word to express this, but guilt. You have some sort of guilty feeling, even if you're not aware of it. There are those bad guys out there. They probably are so used to behaving in such a bad way that they don't think they have this guilty feeling, but actually their mind is riddled with it. It's so riddled with it, they don't even realize. And so we don't want that, of course. I think it's just going down into 10 minutes. I've actually got something on my screen there, but not to worry. It's blocking my view of the time. Hopefully I can still recognize it. It says set up professional audio in audio settings. I don't want to. No, can't click it. Can't click it away. So anyway, I'll leave it there. Where was I? So morality, we need to practice morality. So we'll talk about the three aspects that relate to morality first. That's right speech, right action, and right livelihood. And then we'll talk briefly about the meditation aspect, which is the right effort, right mindfulness, and right concentration, before talking about the right understanding and right thoughts. So, right speech. First of all, we will talk about all of these aspects in what to abandon first, and then what to adopt. In other words, what to put down and what to pick up, what to avoid engaging in, what to practice. Okay, so right speech, we need to avoid lying, telling non-truths, because actually, not only is that bad for our communication with others, it leaves an imprint on the mind. How can we develop right understanding if we're lying? If we're lying to ourselves, how can we work towards realizing the truth, even relative truth? Even the, you could say the three marks of relative truth, which is the impermanence, the unsatisfactory nature, and no self. You know, even before you talk about ultimate truth of nirvana, how can we possibly expect to know the truth if we are lying, and we are lying to ourselves to begin with? We're the first person that we're lying to. Okay, so avoid lying. Instead, tell the truth. Sometimes you can avoid saying anything at all. If, for instance, somebody is not ready to hear the truth, if you think it's going to mess with their mind and not be beneficial for them right now, then avoid it. You don't need to say it. And you can even, actually, in very extreme circumstances, just be careful with this one though, don't kid yourself. You can even tell a lie to help someone. So I joked around years ago about this and said that, you know, if a wife comes home with some sort of dress, and on the dress maybe, I think the term I used was, it looks like fruit salad or something. And, there's all these colors everywhere. And she goes to her husband, oh, does this look nice? Do I look nice in this? And he's thinking, no, she looks stupid. Looks like, he can actually say, yes, looks lovely. And then, and then never encourage her to wear it. Or maybe when she puts it in the cupboard, hide it. I'm joking around now a lot. Okay, but I think you get my point. Or if somebody looks like they're going to hurt someone and they're looking for somebody and they say, well, do you know where this person is? And they're going to hurt someone, then you can say, no. They've moved countries or something. You can actually avoid doing something like that. So it is possible to do that. I've been asked that question many times, but be very careful, okay? Because most likely it's best just to tell the truth or to avoid saying anything, okay? And the most important thing I mentioned first up, and that is, if you're lying to yourself, then you will not realize truth. You can't. It's impossible. Okay, so then you should, like I said, speak the truth, and especially to yourself, and then you should avoid slandering others. This can also be known as divisive speech, so avoid speaking to divide people. Instead, speak to unite people. Speak to make people friends. Remember, speaking really is only there to communicate with others. It's best to remain silent otherwise. What's the point in just talking? If we're just talking all the time, quite often we're just repeating what we already know, and maybe trying to impress others or whatever, or just have the habit of doing so. And so, avoid it, because the more silent we are with our speech, the more we get to contemplate our mind. The more free time we have to engage in this contemplation of the mind, to check our intentions, make sure we have the pure intentions and that we're practicing the best we can. And so then, of course, speak to unite people, I mentioned, then speak skillfully and sweetly rather than speaking harshly or using abusive language. It's best to avoid engaging in abusive language, even if you're doing so jokingly. You never really know how the other person may take it, whether they be offended or not. And of course, them being offended is not really your job. It's their own deal. But like I said, the reason why we talk to others is to communicate. So let's try to make the communication as nice, as clear as possible. That will help us not to have to repeat ourselves as well. Then, of course, we need to avoid engaging in gossip, meaningless chatter, and rather engage in meaningful speech so that we can develop some understanding for ourselves and help others to do likewise. So that is the right speech. Then, of course, we have the right action, and we need to avoid engaging in killing, the destroying of life. Instead, we need to cherish life and protect life of your own as well as others. And even if you get the opportunity to save lives, quite often you can save life. Even if it's a matter of using your speech to do so, encouraging people to not do dangerous things. For instance, use the modern time, the time of the pandemic, encourage people to do the right thing, wear masks when they're in contact with others, social distance when it's like this as well, because encourage people, educate people to realize that this pandemic is actually close to its worst position right now. But of course, the media don't want to talk about it. Governments, businesses don't want to talk about it. More people are dying now. You can educate people on things like that, but not to bring them down, but actually to help them to save their lives, save the lives of others that they may come into contact with if they do get sick, for instance. And so then we can be saving lives and doing it directly as well as indirectly. A lot of people don't think like this, but we can, even walking down the street, after it rains, I've mentioned this before, maybe there's snails on the footpath. You can look down and avoid stepping on them. So that way you're saving the lives of the living beings. And then, of course, at that time, you're creating very good karma for yourselves and not engaging in the negative karma of being indirect cause of other people getting sick or other living beings dying. because the karma works all the time. Just because we turn our back on it doesn't mean the karma is not, we're not creating the karma. It's very important that we know that. I think some people think that, you turn your back on it, you don't want to know about certain things, then actually I'm not creating the karma. Maybe you're not creating intense karma because you're not doing it on purpose. You're not there planning it, but still the karma is created, and then you will experience the results of the karma. So be careful and save lives. And then also to avoid taking what is not freely given by others. So avoid that. We call that stealing, but it's quite subtle as well. Coercing others to give you things they don't really want to give you. This is also breaking this sort of way of living, you could say, going against it. And then, of course, you should be generous and giving if you can. That doesn't mean giving everything away so you end up starving or something like that, but actually just having, first of all, a mind that is generous and open, but also engaging in the act of generosity, such as giving material aid and the like, giving a smile as well. And so this is comes under right action as well. We should avoid engaging in any harmful sexual activity. It's like sexual misconduct, such as adultery and the like, and obviously forcing yourselves on others if you do practice this in your life. Of course, some of us, we don't engage in this activity at all. And then of course, you need to engage in, if you do engage in this activity, to do it with care, to do it, maybe younger family, you want to have kids, that's great, if that's what you want. And then of course, maybe it brings couples closer together on occasions, if you do it with love and with care. So be careful with that one as well. And that's right action covered, basically. I have no idea how long I've got to go, so I just guess I'm going to keep talking. Like I said, I'm a little bit shy